Vetus have done a lot with it, and we've had a really good chance to hopefully grow a bunch of 5 cent, 10 cent players and move them up to 10, 25 cent, and then 25, 50, and so forth and so on. Okay, so when this guy leads for half pot, I think it's a relatively simple flat. I don't know how often this guy is going to squeeze. It's actually pretty likely that since I don't want to shut the pre-flop raiser out, if I was super strong here, I would also just flat, despite the extreme draw heaviness of the board. But we do have a nutted open-ended straight draw, despite the fact that there are some flush draws that taint us. I think it's a relatively easy flat. When he checks, I just don't have any idea how often he's checking to give up or checking to call with a flush draw, checking to call with a pair. So I'm just going to check behind and try to see my draw. If it doesn't hit like this, there's a chance I might take some sort of a relatively small stab at it. Actually, I'm probably not going to at these stakes. I'm probably just going to check back. It's too likely that he has some sort of a pair, or that the jack made him a pair. I think Queen Jack and Jack 10 are even Jack 7 suited or something are semi-likely hands for him to lead there. I really just don't think he's folding any pair on the river. So the only reason I would ever bet there is if I thought that he had ace high a lot. I don't necessarily think there's a lot of combos of ace high. And since I don't think there's a lot of combos of ace high, I think that it was a pretty good decision by me to check behind and not try to bluff the river. And I'm fine with the way that the hand went down. Again, this is a situation where a lot of people always ask me why my red line goes down. This might be one reason. I think some people were just gone ahead and bet turn and bet river there, and sometimes the board comes good for a bet turn and bet river. But I didn't think the board necessarily came good for a bet turn and bet river, so I chose to not try to win the pot without showdown. I chose to just basically give up on my investment, just and count my investment as a sunken cost or whatnot. Now on this right hand side, I do have pocket fours. I did have some showdown value before the river. Apparently I still do have some showdown value. So I'm a little surprised that he didn't take the opportunity to bet the flop or the turn with whatever he had that didn't have showdown value on this board. But I'm not necessarily always going to find extremely good players at 50-cent dollar. He might have just been like, oh, I have 7-6 suited, I'm just going to check and give up. In the actual hand, it looks like he had 7-5 of hearts. So he didn't have anything on any street. On the river, he rivered a flush draw, but they laid short. Right-hand side, 5-handed, under the gun, I suppose opens, but I'm going to call with ace-jack in the small blind. I think it's a relatively easy call. I don't know that this guy's going to be calling. I do expect guys, especially in late position, to call 3-bets relatively wide at these stakes, but I don't necessarily think that an under-the-gun opener who opens to 4x is going to call a 3-bet wide. And I think that since I do have some post-flop edge, it's not a fold, for sure not a fold. It could perhaps be seen as a fold, if in fact I decided that I was a worse player than under the gun post flop. That could, or maybe even on equal level, that could definitely swing it to a fold. Or if the big blind was super squeezy, there's a couple different things that could swing this to a fold. But to me, it's definitely a call as played. And if you're really having trouble out of position, I always say that these fringe spots, these really close spots, I always say that they're really, when in doubt, remember that fold is 0 EV. Remember that it can't, it's never negative EV to fold. So it's important to note that if in fact you do decide that you want to fold there, it's fine because it's 0 EV. Excuse me, I'm just finishing this yogurt I had here. Yogurt with granola is the nuts, by the way. Phenomenal. Play a lot of hands in the big blind when the small blind opens, but obviously not 9-2 off. Some very small percentage of the time I would 3-bet it. As part of my bluff range, obviously. I don't expect him to call with 9-1. Actually, kind of funny that I'm making this video right now because less than like half an hour before this video started, I was playing 501k, but I really thought it had been a while since I made a smaller stakes video, so shout out to not have, try to balance Lego a little bit anyways. So as I said, I expect there to be, there's not, so far my impression of the game is that there's not quite as much it hasn't been as quite as loose pre-flop as I expected it to be. It's actually been I've actually got 3-bet twice. Mikey Miz down here in the bottom right 3-bet me, and I think Wang Sor, either that or I'm pretty sure he 3-bet me, yeah, when I opened King 9 on the button a while ago. So I'm gonna keep that in mind a little bit. And there's obviously gonna be people that are, I would say there's like a 20% chance or so of somebody who's playing these stakes that recognizes my name and realizes that I'm for sure making a video. Left-hand side is a relatively loose under the gun open, so I'm gonna go ahead and do it though because I'm just trying to make a really good, trying to get some really cool post-flop spots for the video. The board I'm actually going to check and give up on because I think almost always someone has a pair or a draw, and I don't have anything, not even a gut shot. The right-hand side, though, I am going to 3-bet. My 3-bet is a bluff, and it is partially a function of the fact that he opened very large pre-flop. Well, not very, I mean, he opened to 4x, so it's not like ginormous or anything like that, but it's bigger than normal. So my 3-bet bluffing range should be larger as a function of that. I mean, it should be wider, I should say. My 3-bet bluffing, my size doesn't have to be that much bigger or anything, but my 3-bet bluffing range I should definitely have more hands in it. So 6-4 suited is a good hand for me to do that with, I believe. I mean, I realize that I'm playing 50-cent dollar, but it's not like I expect him to call my 3-bet with 10-6 suited or something like that. So I expect it to be, I expect him to fold a lot of the 6s and 4s that dominate me, except for maybe ace-x suited of the 6 and the 4. And so I don't really expect to have a lot of trouble playing this hand or playing that hand post flop. I mean, obviously I'm going to flop a draw. I'm probably going to get it in. If I don't flop a draw, I'm probably not going to get it in. Left hand side, I'm going to go ahead and squeeze with Queen 7 suited. It is a function of the fact that the cutoff opened and the button called. Here I'm getting ridiculous odds actually pre-flop. I was just going to insta-fold it, but it looks like I might be getting odds. Kind of absurd. Kind of absurd, but I'm just going to call. Actually, it's kind of funny because Donnie, I was talking the other day, and I actually 5-bet bluffed Sam H. Was it 5 or 6-bet? I think I 5-bet bluffed Sam H. And he folded getting really sick price, Alright, so I want him to be able to continue with jacks and ace-king. So I'm going to bet a little bit less. Obviously, pot to stack is such. I have a good hand now. I flop 2 pair, obviously. Pot to stack is such that I don't have to bet a lot to get it in. And obviously, if he's just insta-folding the turn like that, my call is perfectly fine with pretty much my whole range that I would squeeze with. Anyways, he must have. I'm not sure if he's actually just somebody who's just had misclicked or something, or if he actually was 4-betting me light because he thought I'd be squeezing really light. But regardless, I was getting, obviously, a tremendous price pre-flop. Anyways, as I was saying, I 6-bet, or I think I 6-bet bluffed Sam H. And he was getting like 5-1 pre-flop, and Donnie was like, "Oh man, I would never fold to getting 5-1 pre-flop for any 2 cards. I'd call any 2 cards they're getting 5-1 pre-flop even out of position." So it's kind of interesting though how PLO and No Limit different in that regard, because in No Limit there's I'm pretty sure I said this recently too in a video. There's very exacting edges pre-flop in No Limit, so it's like, it's not like you don't have to make 3 and 4 and 5 bets too big, although that was much too small. But you don't have to make them too big. Like for when I made it 15, he probably should have made it something like 36.50 or something like that. I don't know, something like that. 28 is just absurdly small. Anyways, right hand side I'm going to call with pocket threes and try to hit a little set ski. Didn't work. Unknown in the small blind, or unknown on the button. I'm probably just going to check fold. Pretty wet flop. Even if he's got draws and I'm ahead of, I'm in bad shape. Turn comes. Still trying to get the showdown a little bit. Feeling a little bit better in my chance to get the showdown, but still not very good. Still going to have to check fold a lot. Anyways, as I was saying, in No Limit there's very exacting range. Going to fold even 5-3 off, getting great price there. It's okay. It'd be okay to call there, I suppose. I just have no info on him. Not even like if I just had one hand of info on him, I would be okay with calling, because I could parlay one small piece of information, like him bluffing when a flush draw missed. I could parlay that small piece of information, or maybe the timing that he used on that bluff. I could parlay that into a